Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Music Mondays podcast. I'm your host, Sam Slays. Welcome on in, my friends. Happy Monday. Today is October 6th, 2025, and this is episode 246 of the Music Mondays podcast. I hope you had a good week. Hope you're chilling. I hope you're vibing. I'm your host, Sam Slays. Welcome on in, my friends. Happy Monday. Let's get it. How you feeling? My Reds are like the Gucci of 6 man. Yeah, no, they really are. They really are. Massive chuzit, literally. Shout out MA. Shout out MA, man. Hydrate? Actually, I will again. Hydrate with this caffeine. But, like I said, welcome, my friends. Happy Monday. This is episode 246, and I'm your host, Dom Slays. Welcome on in. What's going on in the chat, Drama Eyes? Welcome on in, my friend. Happy Monday. Hope you're well. Ghost, what's cracking? Happy Monday. Hope you're well, too. Welcome on in. Pretty stacked show for you guys this week. We're going to go over some basic weekly recap stuff. We're gonna talk recruiting, what's coming on Music Mondays over the course of the next week or so, all that good jazz, and then we'll dive into some reactions and reviews. So without further ado, let's get into it. Per usual, Music Mondays basic logo t-shirts are still available and in stock right now. We still have smalls, mediums, and larges. Feel free to DM us, send us a message, send us a DM if you'd like to purchase one of those. $20 flat including shipping, United States only, just so you guys don't get destroyed by shipping costs. So heading into Tuesday following the live show, you can download or access the full episode of the previous night's show on the Music Mondays Patreon every single Tuesday. So again, if you missed the live show tonight, you want to go record it, download it, and do anything like that with it, that is available on the Music Mondays Patreon every single Tuesday. So definitely go check that out and go show that some love. Heading into Wednesday per usual, SoundCloud Sunday submissions do open every single Wednesday. So again, make sure you follow some socials and stay up to date with all of our submissions, playlists, and announcements and all that good jazz. And then, of course, we finish off Wednesday with some Music Mondays podcast audio promo. So again, like I said, make sure that you follow us on all social media to stay up to date with all of our submissions and whatnot. So pretty stacked Wednesday per usual. Heading into Thursday, we actually dropped episode 245 of the Music Mondays podcast. That is available on all audio platforms right now. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and all that good jazz. So that is available right now. So definitely go check that out. Go show that some love. And audio versions of the show do drop every single Thursday. So again, make sure you follow us and stay up to date. And huge shout out to everybody that submitted and tuned in to episode 245. And then we finish off Thursday with a brand new YouTube upload. Last week we spoke a little bit about how to create short form content that you enjoy, or even just content in general, right? I used the homie Laveri's submission last week to kind of dive into how you should be creating content that you enjoy, right? Because everybody always has the stigma of creating content. You know, I'm a musician, I'm not a content creator, I hate this, and blah, 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 blah. You know how everybody kind of goes into that spiel about it. Well, I spoke a little bit about how you can create some content that you actually enjoy, right? So that YouTube upload is available right now on the Music Mondays YouTube channel. So definitely go check that out. Go shout out some love. And again, we do upload every single Thursday, every single Saturday. Full podcast episodes, exclusive segments, and a whole lot of good jazz over there on the channel. So make sure you go show these artists on the channel some love, baby. Let's get it. And if you already have, thank you. Actually, heading into Friday, a brand new article is live by the homie Jay and by the homie me, actually, to be honest with you. Super funny. So we dropped 2 articles this week, and one review by the homie Jay. And of course, I did a fall 2025 preview, so that is available right now on the Music Mondays homepage. So definitely go check that out and go show that some love, my friends. That was Friday. Heading into Saturday, episode 245 of the Music Mondays podcast is available right now on YouTube. So again, if you prefer to go watch the show on YouTube, or you want to go watch it back on the big screen or anything like that, or you prefer the YouTube version, that does drop every single Saturday. So make sure you go check that out and go show that some love. And episode 45 is available right now on all audio platforms and the Music Mondays YouTube channel. That was Saturday. Heading into Sunday, SoundCloud Sunday Volume 207 is available right now on the Music Mondays SoundCloud. Huge shout out to everybody that submitted and tuned into SoundCloud Sunday. We are cranking away at 200 plus volumes of SoundCloud Sunday, so that is fucking awesome. But per usual, SoundCloud Sunday submissions do open every single Wednesday, so make sure you follow us on socials to stay up to date when all of our submissions do go live. That was Sunday. That takes us in today, Monday, October 6th, 2025, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Music Mondays, episode 246. I actually can't believe it. This is our first episode of October. I just realized that. Holy shit. Yeah, because our last episode was in September. So new month for us, my friends. New months. For sure. Would have listened, but I'm a musician, not a content creator. Yeah, no, literally. Holy shit. No, yeah, Ghost, you're right. He's just rolling. Um, but yeah, no. So, um, let's see. So that was some weekly recap, Jazz, and then heading into what's coming on Music Mondays over the course of the next week or so. So let's talk about it. Actually, so recently on Friday, I dropped the Fall 2025 preview article where I kind of dove into a lot of the stuff that we're going to be heading into fall and quarter four and the end of the year when it comes down to Music Mondays, right? So again, we're planning away our next album. So I think that's going to be awesome. That'll be something, and of course, that I update you guys weekly here on the show about when it comes down to submissions and things like that, right? So our next album will be kind of announced this month, and we'll give you guys all those details for sure. And then that'll leave November, December. So I think I'm going to prep for the Music Mondays Awards, and then we're going to squeeze Cyberfest 3 in there somewhere. But a couple of things that are pretty big when it comes down to Music Mondays as well. So those things will be very important. But as far as everything else goes, more towards the end of the year, we're going to be cleaning everything up. Probably refreshing our social graphics, right? We like to do that at least once a year where we kind of refresh all of our promotion graphics, the podcast graphics, things like that. So that'll be fun. Yeah, kind of just wrapping up the end of the year, but also kind of ramping up the end of the year as well, because we do want to get these events out and make sure that we do a few things before the end of the year. So that'll be exciting. But as soon as I know more information, you guys will be the first to know. And then, of course, all of your monthly and weekly content will be staying the same, right? So a lot of our YouTube series will be returning. A lot of our playlists will be returning, especially things outside of SoundCloud Sunday, right? So Underground Classics, Across the Pond, the monthly. We have a few playlists over there on SoundCloud that are month-to-month playlists, as to where SoundCloud Sunday is more of a weekly playlist, right? So a little bit different over there. But again, a lot of those will be making a return, especially before the end of the year. And then outside of that, a lot of your monthly and weekly content will be staying the same, right? So when it comes down to the show, submissions, articles, interviews, all that good jazz, that'll be staying the same throughout your month-to-month and week-to-week basis, right? So that's good. But again, that's pretty much the roadmap for the next couple of weeks. I want to make sure that we finalize all the stuff for the album, get some promo for you guys out, get submissions out, and then probably talk about it here on the show, because there's obviously some new people here that definitely have no idea that Music Mondays even does albums, right? So I'll definitely break down Curing Cases of the Mondays and how all of our exclusive SoundCloud albums work, right? So that'll be something that we do here in the coming weeks. But once I talk to the staff team and kind of figure out what they want to do when it comes down to the new project and things like that, and end of the year plans, I'll definitely let you guys know first. But again, make sure that you tune into the show and make sure you follow us on social media to stay up to date with all of our good jazz, man. Absolutely. That's pretty much everything major that's coming up on Music Mondays over the course of the next week or so. But like I said, make sure you follow us and stay up to date with all of our good jazz and everything that we have going on here. Volume 3 is crazy. Volume 3 is definitely crazy. I think we did one in 2023. We did one in 2024. So I figured it's only right that we do one in 2025, and then kind of continue that trend, right? I at least want to do at least one a year to kind of show off the underground and what all you guys do when it comes down to your work, right? It's just a good way for everybody to come together, and I can like showcase all of you guys with exclusive work that nobody's heard in front of everybody's face, right? So that's like a really good thing for sure. But a couple things we've got to talk about before we continue on here. So one other thing is that Music Mondays is recruiting. So again, this is something we definitely got to dive into. I don't know where that year went. I felt like we just did too. Yeah, I know. 2024 really, like, I know. I agree. 100%. I feel like we literally just did Volume 2 for sure. It had to be like what, at least like a year ago, right? Let me just double check just for conversational purposes, just because I can pull up the SoundCloud really quickly here. Yeah, I'm kind of curious when this actually did drop. I don't quite remember. 1 year ago. It was actually June of 2024. So over a year old already. But yeah, so let's talk recruiting. So per usual, Music Mondays is on the hunt for new staff members. Again, if you're a writer, journalist, curator, designer, you want to do short form content, you want to do long form content, you want to do any content for the Music Mondays platform, definitely let us know. Send us a message, send us a DM, send us an email, because we are recruiting. And again, resume preferred, but definitely not required. If you have Anything that you like to show us, that'd be great. But if not, and you're kind of new to the underground independent media space, we'd be happy to get your feet wet and kind of show you the ropes of things, right? So again, if you're interested in joining the Music Monday staff team, definitely let us know. Send us a message, send us a DM, send us an email, and we'd be happy to have that conversation for you, or with you, I should say. But per usual, we do have a Music Mondays staff role guide that was updated for 2025, where I kind of dive into all the Music Monday staff roles in detail and kind of explain your schedule, your content, and things like that. So again, if that interests you or anything like that, definitely go check that out on the Music Mondays YouTube channel. Or again, send us a message, send us a DM, send us an email if you're interested in joining the Music Mondays staff team. Time went so fast, man. June, yeah, no, it really did. That month was crazy though for me, so I kind of just blanked it out. That month was really crazy for me for sure. But yeah, so that's recruiting, Jazz. Let's talk SoundCloud exclusives. So we are dropping a shit ton of SoundCloud exclusives towards the end of the year. We recently just dropped one with the homie Dry My Eyes, who's in chat now. We dropped one with Braden. We have 2 coming with the homie Jin, and we actually just dropped one today. So definitely go check that out. We're pumping out brand new exclusive tracks over there on the Music Monday SoundCloud. But again, if you're interested in having an exclusive track hosted on the Music Monday SoundCloud, and of course promoted across all of our social media for completely free, definitely let us know. Send us a message, send us a DM, send us an email. And again, we're only interested in exclusive SoundCloud unreleased tracks, so feel free to do whatever you want with the track afterwards. You want to do a music video, you want to go put it on all platforms or anything like that, that's completely fine. But again, we are only interested in unreleased material. And per usual, same thing goes for YouTube. So again, if you want some audio, you want a music video, you want an AMV or a lyric video or anything like that hosted on the Music Mondays YouTube channel of over 300 subscribers, and of course promoted across all of our social media for completely free, definitely let us know. Send us a message, send us a DM, send us an email or anything like that, and we'd be happy to have that conversation with you. Let's get it, baby. Well done. So, busy end of the year, but we're doing good, man. We are on pace. We are definitely on fucking pace. Absolutely. So, per usual, I think we're gonna do community feedback next week, and then the week after that, we're gonna talk about Curing Cases of the Mondays, which is our album. I think our October segment schedule here on the show is gonna be pretty jam-packed. So this week, I think we'll upload a recruiting segment and then just hop into some reactions and reviews. So that's what we'll do. Let's hop over to Twitter and let's see what we got here, man. Let's pull up our submissions and let's go see what Twitter is looking like. So, bam. All right. Give our music a quick pause here. Let's go head over to the Bird app and see what's going down. So per usual, you guys know the deal. Submissions are always in the same format every single week, and they always read. Artists and creative submissions are open for live reviews on Music Mondays live on October 6th, 2025 at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, twitch.tv/SonPlays, which is here and now. And again, per usual, submissions are always in the same format. The only thing that does change is the date. Make sure that you're submitting for a show that hasn't happened yet, right? Submissions do open every single Tuesday, so keep that in mind. But again, you'd be surprised at how many submissions we get that are for shows that have already happened or shows that are from last year or anything like that. So again, make sure you double check the date and make sure the show hasn't happened yet. Per usual, outside of that, if you'd like to submit your music, artwork, fashion, or digital creation, drop your links and portfolios below. All art forms are welcome. So again, contrary to our name, Music Mondays, we've reacted to pretty much everything here on the show. Everything from music, obviously, to vocals, to instrumentals, to remixes, to acoustic covers, to music videos, lyric videos, videography, photography, YouTube edits, unreleased merch, all that good jazz. So again, per usual, feel free to drop any of your links or anything like that that you like to have hosted or even reacted to here on the Music Mondays podcast. And again, per usual, we do have a 3-hour show limit, so keep that in mind. That is just to keep the show a little bit more palatable to watch back. And again, one could argue that a 3-hour show is a little bit long to watch back, but opposed to some of our earlier shows that went on for like 5 to 6 hours, this is definitely a little bit shorter. And again, we are one of the only live shows here on Twitch every single Monday when it comes down to reacting to your music. So again, that just makes the show a little bit more consistent and allows us to bring you a high-quality show every single week, right? Or at least as high as quality as possible. But outside of that, submissions are free. They always have been free and they always will be free, but the only thing that we do ask is that you're following Music Mondays on Twitter to be eligible. And again, submissions are free. They always have been free and they always will be free. But the only thing that we do ask is that you're following Music Mondays on Twitter to be eligible. And again, that not only helps grow our platform and spread our message, right? But then you pay respect to everybody else that is waiting for their submissions to be reacted to every single week here on the show. And then you gain access to a wonderfully, beautifully talented, friendly fucking community when it comes down to Music Mondays, right? So again, kind of a win-win. So that's the only thing I do ask is that you're following Music Mondays on Twitter before you do submit. And again, Patreon subscriber submissions are played first every single week here on the show. So again, if you're subscribed to the Music Mondays Patreon at any tier, whether that be basic, advanced, or premium, you gain access to all of our content completely early and a whole bunch of goodies. But one of those goodies is the Music Mondays Fast Pass, which again, for the duration that you're pledged to the Music Mondays Patreon, allows for all of your submissions to be played first here on the show every single week. So kind of an advantage. And then, of course, you get played at the high reviewership. And then when people go and watch the show back, you're one of the first submissions that people see, right? So again, kind of a win-win. The last thing that we do got to mention is that submissions do close about a couple hours before the show starts. So again, you have like roughly 6.5 or so days to get your submissions in. But again, a good rule of thumb is that if the show is already live, submissions are definitely closed. And again, we are a live show, so that takes away any discrepancies of somebody, sneaking in a late submission and then they get ahead of somebody that's already been waiting in chat. And then, it kind of creates a gray area, right? So we do like to close the submissions about a couple hours before the show starts. So again, if the show is live, a good rule of thumb is that submissions are definitely closed. And again, submissions open every single Tuesday for the live show. So if you want to submit for episode 247, submissions will be live on October 7th, 2025. Of course, if you're watching the show here live, they'll be open tomorrow. And then if you're watching the show anywhere else, submissions are already open. So definitely go drop your tracks and links and all that good stuff. Outside of that, that's pretty much everything. If you want any more details when it comes down to the Music Mondays podcast, we do have a how to submit to the Music Mondays podcast guide on our YouTube channel where I kind of dive into the purpose of the Music Mondays podcast, why we take submissions on Twitter, how the Music Mondays podcast came to be, and things like that. So I go into a little bit more detail when it comes to the Music Mondays podcast. So definitely go check that out on the Music Mondays YouTube channel if that interests you. So I think we're good to go, my friends. Let's get it. That's just about everything. Got a little hydrate from Let Me Dry My Eyes. But let's continue on here. So let's see how many patrons we have tonight, and then we'll dive into the rest of our community submissions per usual. So we have the homie Kale up first because Kale actually won Battle of the Beats 2025. So Kale is coming through with a Music Mondays Patreon submission tonight, and I'm proud of the homie Kale actually using that. So shout out to Kale, man. So Kale will be up first, and then we have, let's see. Got the homie Kale, then we got the homie Ghost, that's 2. We got the homie Jordan, and then Dry My Eyes. So that's 4 Music Mondays Patreons tonight. I'm down. So first off, we're going to kick off with the homie Kale. Now, Kale, a multi-genre talented producer, has been on fire when it comes down to 2025. They've been dropping like crazy every single month. They've been extremely consistent, and they've had one of their best years since they've been submitting to the Music Mondays podcast. But Kale submitted a recent track that they just dropped titled Splithead. I'm down. I'm down. Pop this open a new tab. Let's see what we got here. It's been a while since we heard from homie Kale, man. I think it's been like a month or so. I think it's probably been like a couple of months, man. At least a couple of months, for sure. The finalists of the beat battle back to back. That's right, Ghost. Good shout there. I didn't even realize that. Good shout. Absolutely good shout. Let's see here. So we got a good description. The links, got the art credit, follow me here. Let's get it, baby. All right, I'm down. Let's get into it. Kale Plant, Splithead, let's go. Kyle Plant. My phone always autocorrects his name to Jake. One starts off hot. Very clean. Very clean. Very peaceful at the same time, too. I love that cup sound. That pouring sound is so old, man. That is such a good sound. That is such a good fucking sound. But well done, well done. That's a good return from the homie Kale, man. That's a really really good return. Let's talk about it. Let's break it down. Let's get into it. So obviously, no vocals here. So we're gonna talk about two things. We're gonna talk about the instrumental, and we're gonna talk about the overall theme of Splithead. So instrumental. Mix wise, I really like it. You know, it's been a very long time since I even had a remote gripe with the Kale mix. I think we've been reacting to Kale on the Music Money's podcast for about 2 years now. And we've reacted to some old Kale jams, we've reacted to some new Kale jams, and, you know, even some of the older ones have a really, really solid mix. So, not really a shocker to me that this has a very crisp, clean mix, but something I always want to point out for anybody new here, right? So, instrumental mix, definitely solid. Instrumental Shining Star, on the other hand, you know, I do like the melody. Melody's up there. But I think two things come to mind for me here. I think the structure's up there, but the drums are really just the name of the game. You know, the drums just take over here. So I'm not to say drums, but I think the structure's a close second. But let's go with drums. So instrumental solid, definitely drums. Let's talk aesthetics. Overall theme. Splithead. So cover art by the homie Mild Goth Daddy. Now Mild's been kind of killing the art game when it comes down to all their personal pieces and all the times that they work with artists. But this one is great for a single. It's really, really solid. Splithead, bottom left. Kale Plant, top left. Then we have this great edited, I believe it's like Silent Hill 2 kind of screen grab, right? So, very original, very dark, very ambient, very what this is. You know, it's a very peaceful yet hard-hitting track. So I feel like this cover fucking really checks all the boxes for me. So aesthetics definitely on point. Overall theme, Splithead, this one's interesting. I mean, you could kind of dive into this in any way. I would assume that this title's a little bit more of like a personal subliminal title for Kale than it is like a thematic title, right? But per usual, I think Kale kind of nailed the overall vibe when it comes down to aesthetics and how this song feels, right? So well done, my friend. Well done. Huge shout out to the homie Kale. Thank you so much for the submission, my friend. Much love. Make sure you go follow Kale on SoundCloud, by the way. They're only 5 followers away from 460. And of course, make sure you go follow Kale on Twitter as well. They're only 3 followers away from 660, so make sure you go show them some love on Deepbird at my friends. And of course, every artist featured in today's episode and every single episode will be linked in the description of the YouTube upload. And of course, make sure you subscribe to the Music Mondays YouTube channel if you haven't already. We're approaching 330 subscribers. We upload 2 times per week, every Thursday, every Saturday. Full podcast episodes, exclusive segments, and a lot of good jazz over there on the channel. Make sure you go show these artists and tell some love. Let's get it, baby. We got Odd Wooka in the chat. Let's go, baby. It's been a while since we've seen you, homie. Let's go. Love that. Welcome on in, my friend. Happy Monday. Let's go. We're supposed to have a crib kind of working on music edits. Yup. Kale Mix is always... Yeah, I agree, bro. I agree. Kale Mix is definitely sound very clean. Playing Skate. Can't seem to produce anything. Yeah, no, Skate's been taking over, man. Skate's been fucking taking over, that's for sure. But, up next, man, we got the homie Ghost, another multi-genre talented producer. Again, has had a stellar 2025 between a lot of their collaborations, a lot of their unreleased, and a lot of their sessions. They've been cooking up, and we've heard a lot of unreleased from the homie Ghost. But this week, they submitted a unreleased instrumental. I thought I already posted something for this, but clearly not. Here you go. Let's fucking go. So we got a little unreleased Ghost here. I'm down. Extraordinary beat, co-prod the homie Bino. I'm down. Skate is fun as fuck. It really is. Unreleased Ghost. Let's get into it. Oh, we're getting ambient again, huh? Love the long intro. Oh wow, no, it's like this is we're going. Holy shit. Wow. Man, you could make some real emotional shit on this. You really could. You could make some real fucking emotional shit here. This is great. I haven't heard a track like that in quite some time, right? Like there's a few producers that used to produce some real good like ambient style like underground trap like this. And it has so many elements to it that I think it just makes it so emotional, man. Like the hard hitting drums, the sample, the kind of like underwater, almost like drowning sort of feel. It'll definitely get you emotional for sure. Like even as an instrumental, you don't even need vocals on this to kind of feel the emotion. That's what's really amazing about instrumentals like these is they make you feel something without saying a word, you know? And that's what I love about being a producer, and that's why I think a lot of producers should be like, you know, pushing their own individual tracks like this, because you can really make somebody feel some emotion off of just an instrumental, 100%. But this is not out of the ordinary for Ghost, but it's definitely more on the like, you know, you can really see what Ghost can do kind of vibe, right? Because we've seen a lot of angles from Ghost, we've seen a lot of different styles from Ghost, and this is just another one to add to the bag. So obviously no vocals here, but we're gonna talk about two things. We're gonna talk about the instrumental, and we're gonna talk about the overall theme of this beat. So instrumental mix, for what it is, I love it. It does have that like vintage ambient kind of feel to it, but it's not like doing too much or it's not too overbearing. I didn't think the levels were too messy at all either, especially for something like this. I feel like Ghost kind of hit like the good middle ground. You know what I mean? So nothing that I would like ultimately change on this, especially for how much is going on and like what this sounds like. I feel like Ghost kind of nailed it when it comes down to like a good middle ground. You know, as far as like a listenable instrumental goes, right? Um, so instrumental mix definitely solid. Instrumental shining star. Mm, hmm. Interesting. You know, you could say drums. I feel like drums. You could kind of argue the point there, right? But I think I'm gonna go with structure. The structure again, like, really tells a story, and it was so important to like the ups and downs of this instrumental. Yeah, let's go structure. Even though samples up there too, you could probably argue sample, but I think the structure of everything and how it came together, it's really a roller coaster for sure. Really a roller coaster. So, let's go structure on this for sure. Um, So instrumental solid, definitely structure. Let's talk theme. Obviously aesthetics unreleased, right? But when it comes down to theme and like I was saying at the start, this is one of those instrumentals that you don't even need vocals on for a person to feel something, right? Like there's a lot of great producers that have done things like that. Take somebody like Clamps Casino, right? Or somebody like Grief, or somebody like like there's a lot of really good producers that know how to cook instrumentals that make you feel something. And this is definitely along those lines for me. So yeah, I feel like Ghost kind of nailed this one when it comes down to like showing off their bag and like what they can really do. For sure, Ghost bag of tricks is very deep. I will say that, very very deep. Well done, my friend. Well done. Huge shout out to homie Ghost. Thank you so much for the submission, my friend. Much love. Make sure you go follow Ghost on Twitter, by the way. They're only 6 followers away from 560, so make sure you go show them some love on the Bird app, my friends. And of course, every artist featured in today's episode and every single episode will be linked in the description of the YouTube re-upload. Of course, make sure you subscribe to Music Money's YouTube channel if you haven't already. We're approaching 330 subscribers. We're only like 5 away. Make sure you go sub to the channel if you haven't already. We're approaching 330 subroonies. And of course, we upload 2 times per week, every Thursday, every Saturday. Full podcast episodes, exclusive segments, and a whole lot of good jazz over there on the channel. Make sure you show these artists in the channel some love. Let's get it, baby. Structure sample. Sample is great because of the structure. Yeah, right, exactly, Ghost. Exactly. I agree. Thanks, you're very welcome, my friend. Thank you for your submission. Let's get it, baby. Well done. Wow. We are starting off the night very emotional. Very, very emotional. And I have a feeling we're going to continue on because up next, our third patron of the night, the homie Jordan. Again, a multi-genre talented artist and producer, has had a stellar 2025 between their recent album, Not Now and Busy, a lot of their recent projects when it comes down to the early summer. And man, they've just had a really great 2025. But they came through with a track titled I Like to Feel the Rain from Prolonged Chapter 1. And this should be unreleased, I believe, right? Yeah. We got a little unreleased Jordan here. Let's see what we got. Let's see. So this is brand spanking new, actually. I believe this is like right hot off the press. I believe it is. But let's get into it. I Like to Feel the Rain, Jordan. Let's go. Another crazy sample.
Start like this, I've only processed partly what seems to cut and scar me. You found me with an unfinished product, and for that I'm terribly sorry. My apologies, I hardly ever speak as I please, changing the subject to keep me at ease. Found me with the trees, I speak kindly when displeased. I sincerely need this stress release. Found this to be the best when I step on beats. I give relief to the ground where I've stood by taking a leap, free fall. But now I feel good, but these are types of dreams that wake me from sleep. I'm thinking too hard, that's just how my mind works. I wish on a star for constant reminders. I wish for this part, but I've forgotten how time works. I wish on a star for constant reminders. I thought I could stop, this is just a reminder. I need this a lot, and that's just how my mind works. No, I cannot stop, that's just how time works now. Don't hear me too seriously, living 9 lives caught me thinking too curiously. I'll be alright, cause I know what I'm here to be. Just one night, felt like a year to me. Some of this fucked with me, but all of this stuck with me. Where are the ones who said they can't get enough of me? You're making this tough for me, if it's real love for me, just help me fight this. I'm serious, it is hands up for me. No funny shit, I'm a couple bands deep. That's the point, I decided there's some things I can't keep. I got a lot of plans, it would seem I never sleep. A strong list of demands, call them dreams, feels cheap. Now I'm so tired, but I'm trying not to look weak. If you know how I'm wired, you know it took me like a week. Just know if I retired, I just felt I hit a peak, but I know I'll expire before I ever filter how I speak. I was driving through the old, state of mind on the new. Every story I never told, just need a point of view. If you let me, I could shed some light on a different set of news. A spotlight on the things that happen, inspire blues. The love, the pain, I like to feel the rain. It never feels the same, it never feels the same. It never feels the same. It feels the same. Like to feel the rain. It never feels the same. Too hard. That's just how my mind works. I wish on a star for constant reminders. I wish for this part. I've forgotten how time works. I wish on a star for constant reminders. I thought I could stop. This is just a reminder. I need this a lot. That's just how my mind works. Now I cannot stop. No, that's not how time works. Never feels the same. It feels the same. Like to feel the rain. It never feels the same.
Good outro too. I like that. I like that a lot. Well done. Very honest and emotional track again. We're like 3 for 3 on the emotion scale tonight, my friends. Good lord, such a freeing feeling of it. Yeah, no, I agree on Luca. I agree. Yeah, yep. Very peaceful. Yep, totally agree. I fuck with the keys. Yeah, the production's crazy on this. Um, Okay. So you guys know the deal. Let's talk about it. Let's break it down. Let's get into it. We're gonna talk about three things here. We're gonna talk about the instrumental, we're gonna talk about vocals, and we're gonna talk about the overall theme of "I Like to Feel the Rain." So instrumental, obviously prod by Jordan. The self production from Jordan has been fucking crazy, as well as their vocals. I feel like their production and their vocals are like evolving at like a equal pace. It's actually pretty crazy to see. But mix is great. Nothing super clashy, too overbearing. Levels are good. Everything's solid. Nothing that I would like really change about this, right? I mean, especially when it comes to Jordan, I would say the last 6 months of their submissions have had a really solid mix, especially when it comes down to their production itself. So nothing I would ultimately change on this, especially when it comes down to levels and sound selection and things like that, right? I feel like everything matched up. Nothing was like really bothersome at all, you know? So instrumental mix is definitely on point. Instrumental Shining Star. Um, hmm. You know, the sample was very well utilized. The drums were up there. The drums kept up a really good rhythm and a really good pace. But man, structure too. But I kind of want to say the sample. I don't. Mm, or the melodies though. The melodies definitely played a big part. Melodies definitely played a big part for sure. You could kind of argue any one of those, but I think my gut wants me to go with melodies just because it's so memorable. So let's go with melodies on this for sure. So instrumental solid. Let's talk vocals. Vocal mix, a very clean, crispy Jordan mix. Nothing too crazy in terms of style, but as far as quality and levels go, nothing super clashy, too overbearing. I thought the drums cut through nicely. Vocals definitely sat nice. Nothing that I would like really change in terms of levels or anything like that. Again, crisp, clean, straight to the point, but not like too overmixed or anything like that. And that's where it's trying to do something it's not, right? Um, so vocal mix solid. Vocal shining star. Hmm. Two things kind of come to mind here. I would either say flow and cadence and delivery, or the writing and lyrics. I think the writing and lyrics in general are pretty deep, but I think the flow and cadence and delivery make it easier to kind of grasp the writing and like what Jordan is trying to say here. So I think flow and cadence and delivery for sure, just because it's so impactful to like how much the writing kind of affects the listener. So the flow and cadence and delivery on this for sure. Let's talk theme. So aesthetics, obviously unreleased. So we have a little bit of a foresty, woodsy placeholder here. And again, as far as like the ambient kind of like more emotional free flow feel, I feel like this cover definitely is on point. Art is also nice. Yeah, I was just about to say that. Yeah, art's great. I feel like this is a good like temporary cover for this for sure. So um, aesthetics definitely on point. Overall theme, I like to feel the rain. Um, there's a couple of themes that you could grab from this, right? I feel like Jordan's like talking about you know, the feeling of kind of like living in the moment, but also knowing that you have like goals to accomplish. But also there's just so many emotions wrapped up in this writing. It's a very like subliminal track for Jordan, but you could kind of grab onto like any one of these themes as a listener and you could kind of like understand the rest of the whole song. You know what I mean? I feel like this one's very deep. So it definitely requires like a few listens for anybody who's interested to kind of like really understand the meaning here of this one, 100%. But definitely one of the ones where it's a bit more subliminal and more personal to the artist, right? So, well done, my friend. Well done. Huge shout out to homie Jordan. Thank you so much for the submission, my friend. Much love. Make sure you go follow Jordan on SoundCloud, by the way. They're only 7 followers away from 100. That's a W milestone. And of course, make sure you go follow Jordan on Twitter. They're only 10 followers away from 430. Make sure you go show them some love on the Bird app, my friends. And of course, every artist featured in today's episode and every single episode will be linked in the description of the YouTube re-upload. Of course, make sure you subscribe to the Music Mondays YouTube channel if you haven't already. We're approaching 330 subscribers. We upload 2 times per week, every Thursday, every Saturday. Full podcast episodes, exclusive segments, and a whole lot of good jazz over there on the channel. So make sure you go show these artists on the channel some love, baby. Let's get it. 3 for 3 on the emotion scale tonight, for sure. 100%. Alrighty, my friends. So, last but certainly not least, Our last Patreon of the night, the homie Dry My Eyes, a very, very talented, again, multi-genre artist, has came through an unreleased SoundCloud link. And as of recently, they've been on fire in terms of their singles and how much they're putting in work and things like that. So they've been going crazy, man. They've definitely been going fucking crazy. But let's pop over to SoundCloud and see what we got here for the homie Dry My Eyes. Oh, shit, I fucked that up. Hold on here. There we go. Wait. Am I faded? Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah, I am faded. I always forget about this last one. Excellent. Let's get it, baby. I might have submitted some straight doggy. Yeah, we got Sam's Raps in the chat. Let's get it, baby. Welcome on in, my friend. Happy Monday. Happy Monday. Let's go. We'll see. Of course not. Definitely not. We don't call anything dog shit on here, so don't worry. Don't worry. Parkit Freestyle demo. Rose Beach Rip. And we got some lyrics and description too. Okay. Perfect. Okay, I'm down. Let's get into it. Unreleased Dry My Eyes. Parkit Freestyle. Demo, by the way. Let's get into it.
Some shit that I meant it. If I'm dead or rest, and I get it. I know I lost someone, I'm not hit it. How can y'all sacrifice authentic? How can I sacrifice authentic? How can I rectify my feelings? Baby, come extra flying my image. I guess I cannot define my dealings. At least sensitized, I'm not hearless. I'm petrified and I'm teary-eyed. My friends are left and my family died. Drugs I've done and left me traumatized. I'm not the one, but I'm trying my eyes. I'll never sleep until I comatose. My bloodstream till I overdose. I know it must seem like it's overflow, but it's all good. Concrete and the hardwood. Love season my heart cut. Those must season my heart's cut. I can fuck up, but I'm cautious of it. Where we going, they'll never stop it. Get the money to us all monopolist. Not so funny when it's so monotonous. Throw the toxic, throw the block to bed. No, it's not that. Soap apocalypse, soul unlock the wind. Soul unlock the wind. Soul don't like the bitch. I don't mind the bitch. I don't like the bitch. I don't mind whatever. I get out of it. I'm like, how is it? I just got a minute. Sky's not the limit. Y'all can play, but this is just a token. Living life in the present moment. Short lifespan, so I have to focus. Short attention span, I can never focus.
Letting the beat ride was crazy.
Voices wet, so my soul is soaking. I went cold, so my inner's frozen. My rent was due, but I had a few, so I had to move. Now I see the stars, metal rods and impeded bars. No crowded mansions, no readed cars. If I've had to do it, then we get far. Five shit like a teeter-totter. And I'm in the stand like Tyranitar. I'm a monster when I'm in the pocket. I fly, swear with my feeling conscious. My blood stirs. I get eat talking, had to talk, nothing like the bottom. I tried to kill myself back in autumn. I tried to kill myself on October. It's the same shit, this is never over. Scars heal, I can't recover. I can't steer, I play no suffer. It's not there, you're not my friend or my enemy. Right till I'm dead, you're sending me this bullshit. I don't give a fuck, it's cool shit. Don't shut your mouth, it's stupid bitch. Don't shut your mouth.
Okay, whoa. I like that it's called a freestyle because it's like such a serious track, but it does give that like freestyle loose sort of feel, right? So, wow. Lot to unpack there. So let's talk about it. Let's break it down. Let's get into it. So we're gonna talk about three things. We're gonna talk about the instrumental, we're gonna talk about vocals, and we're gonna talk about the overall theme of this track. So, instrumental. A very Dry My Eyes type instrumental, lo-fi-esque, but also still has that like hard-hitting feel to it, but still feels a little bit of a little bit more of like an emotional style of instrumental, right? So I like the choice. Instrumental mix, per usual, really solid. Really solid. Nothing I would like ultimately change on this. I love the sound selection. The melodies are great. Structure was awesome. Nothing like super clashy or like too overbearing that I thought needed to be switched or anything like that. Like I said, levels were good. Nothing that really like bothered me, you know, especially for this style. So nothing that I would like really tweak out about, right? So instrumental mix up there. Instrumental Shining Star. You know, the melodies are up there for me, but the drums are up there too. But I honestly, I think a really underrated part about this is probably the structure. I feel like, again, the structure tells a story and really helps. Dry My Eyes kind of like slide on this and like really float like really properly, right? So let's go structure on the instrumental. I'm gonna go structure. Even though the melodies and the drums are a close second, I like the structure on this. So instrumental solid. Let's talk vocals. Vocal mix. Again, a very Dry My Eyes style vocal mix. It's got this like really good flavor to it, but it's not too much, right? Like you can like overly mix tracks like this, or even like in a style like this, as to where it'll sound a little bit off-putting. But if you know Dry My Eyes' music, you know that this is a very standard mix for them. But as far as quality goes, again, nothing super clashy, each overbearing. Drums definitely cut through nicely. Levels were good. Nothing that I like really felt bothered by at all, to be honest with you. Um, and again, especially for this style, it really had a good like Dry My Eyes flavor to it. 100%, especially compared to like their recent like submissions and their recent drops, right? So vocal mix up there, vocal shining star. Um, hmm. Flow and Canes and Deliveries up there for me, right? For sure. But I think we're gonna go writing and lyrics on this, even though it was, it had that freestyle sort of like bouncy style. But I'm gonna go writing on this, writing and lyrics for sure, 100%. Truthful, emotional, but also very loose. It kind of checked all the boxes. So let's go writing and lyrics on this for sure. So instrumental solid, definitely the structure. Vocal solid, definitely the writing and lyrics. Let's talk theme, aesthetics. Simple, straight to the point cover. Kind of has that like signature almost like sort of vibe. These minimalistic covers are always a hit with me. I don't know why I've always liked these, but especially for a single, something like this always nails it. And it's very like eye-catching, right? But it's very what's the word? It's very like personal to Dry My Eyes. So it's one of those ones that like really sticks like towards the artist, and it's very intimate. So aesthetics definitely on point. MS Paint special. Yeah, see, exactly. I knew it. But it does have that good like signature kind of vibe. You know what I mean? Like almost like you're signing an autograph or something like that, which I think is sick. And then the heart above it kind of makes it. So for a single, for me, I think that's awesome. Overall theme, Arcade Freestyle. So I wouldn't look super deep for a theme just because it is in that freestyle sort of format. But Dry My Eyes is very honest throughout this whole track, right? And it's everything from the past, the present, the future, and it's still very motivating at the end of the day, right? I mean, like, there's a difference of like using your past to kind of like reflect, but also using your past to kind of like motivate yourself, right? So there's a lot of these subjects here in this track. So this is one where I wouldn't look super deep for a theme. This is one where you definitely gotta appreciate Dry My Eyes for their writing and lyricism on this for sure. So well done, my friend. Well done. Huge shout out to the homie Dry My Eyes. Thank you so much for the submission, my friend. Much love. Make sure you go follow Dry My Eyes on SoundCloud. They're only 8 followers away from 100. That's a W milestone. And of course, make sure you go follow Dry My Eyes on Twitter as well. They're only 9 followers away from 60. Make sure you go get them to 60, man. And of course, every artist featured in today's episode and every single episode will be linked in the description of the YouTube re-upload. Of course, make sure you subscribe to the Music Mondays YouTube channel if you haven't already. We're approaching 330 subscribers. We upload 2 times per week, every Thursday, every Saturday, full podcast episodes, exclusive segments, and all that good jazz over there on the channel. So make sure you go show these artists on the channel some love, baby. Let's get it. And if you already have, thank you, my friends. We appreciate you here at Music Mondays, even if you're just watching the videos, liking the videos, even if you're just commenting, anything like that, we appreciate you. Thank you. Let's get it, baby. Much love, Dry My Eyes. Let's go, man. Awesome. Well done. Alrighty. So, let's see. That concludes all of our Music Mondays Patrons for the night, by the way. Massive shout out to all of our Music Mondays Patrons. Homie Dry My Eyes, Jordan, King Mark, Ryuki, Kale, Ghost, literally everybody on the Music Mondays Patreon team. Thank you guys so much for all the support and the submissions. Much love. And of course, the homie Dry My Eyes. But our first community submission of the night is the homie Sam's Raps. Now, Sam's Raps, a very talented hip-hop artist, came through with a track titled Warpaint. Selection from the new Sasuke Revolution tape, Refractions through to Molotov, Warpaint. Okay, so we got a couple features on here. Cover art was a collaborative effort across several... Okay. I think it was engineered by Uggy. I don't know. I believe we got a reply here. Oh, wait, no, I lied. Okay, so the homie... All right, bet. I'm down. All right, let's pop this open a new tab, because this is a stacked track. There's a lot of names on here. Let's see what we got. This could be pretty crazy. Give this a quick pause. Hold on here. So this is off of Refractions Through the Molotov. We got an 8-track project here. This is track 3. It looks like Sam's Raps is on quite a few of these. Actually, two of these tracks, and this is one of them. Titled Warpaint. Okay. Wow, yeah, so this is a stack track. Alright, I'm down. Let's get into it. Sam's Raps, Sauce Gang, Warpaint. Let's go.
I'm setting the pace, war paint, drums in my veins, march till the thunder gon' remember our name. Sending hollows, I hope that I'm hallowed still. Down the bottle, I need it to wash the guilt. I pray to God, but the demons feel instilled. He might spare the rod, but I'ma up the still. Whole squad down to ride. First we gotta steal the wheels. We make plots get denied like the dirt is overfilled. Ain't no shots at the sky, but usually I'm overkills. Don't even need a reason, I just like to feel the thrill. A victim out the house like my name is Uncle Phil. These victims are down to riot till the real start getting real. They not really about that action, but I'm here to give them hell. Realize this is real life, this beat ain't L'Oreal. Lead turned
What the fuck?
into lettuce, then that lettuce into pestilence and famine. And maybe I'm to blame cause I hold reverence for cannons. And I'm generous with damage cause I pinch up all that shit that I never learned to manage.
But if we all just trying to manage, then who really doing the work for us? So far from the plan and several grand ain't gonna work for us. Offloaded the dead offshore, then they ignore the rest and make back all the overhead with cents out of your weekly checks. We crested hill, the silhouettes all pepper the horizon. 1,000 dots upon your flesh, we press and shred your squadron. Then loot the captain for the taxes, took and called it solid. One more thing, grab the teeth and tags right out his noggin. They can't
what the fuck?
Tips are in my pocket. Ain't peep the posture, burning deep inside of your subconscious. The ground retains the water seeping, leaking from your body. The worms are drinking blood, the fungus creeping out the mud. We'll colonize your crew, my city team with stronger roots. Throughout the underground, we're spreading spores and popping caps. Snap the veil on the facts, they state that's more like shadows. They show you truth that's absolute, like how you doomed to fail. War paint,
Whoa.
blood on my face, step in the fire, I'm setting the pace. War paint, drums in my veins, march till the thunder gon' remember our name.
Powerful. Very powerful. Well done. That was what, track 3? That's a pretty crazy track 3, you know, because like I picture like listening to the full project, right, as like a listener, and like holy shit, for fucking track 3, man. Whew, my God. Holy shit. Okay, so let's talk about it. Let's break it down. Let's get into it. Solid. This stuff is, yeah, no, I agree, guys. I agree. I definitely agree. We're going to talk about 3 things here. We're going to talk about the instrumental, we're going to talk about vocals, and we're going to talk about the overall theme of Warpaint. So instrumental, I mean, fantastic. You know, when it comes to Sauce Gang and even anything to do with Sam's Raps, they always have a really, really fucking solid mix across the board. I have yet to have a submission from any of this crew that has even gotten remotely like a little off-putting or anything like that. It just really hasn't. You know, I have yet to come across a track. Their mixing and engineering across the board is really just top tier to me. Really, really top tier. So, instrumental mix, with that said, fantastic. Nothing super clashy, too overbearing. Nothing I would like ultimately change on this. Every verse transitions well. Sound selection was great. Everything knocked really hard. Nothing I would like really change about this whatsoever. And again, not really a shocker, but something you always want to point out for anybody new here, right? So, instrumental mix solid. Instrumental shining star. This one's kind of interesting. I feel like the instrumental as a whole was really solid, but drums are up there. Structure, you could probably argue, too. I kind of want to go with the drums, though. You know, without the drums, we wouldn't have as much, like, you know, high energy behind everything and a little bit of, like, oomph, right? So I'm going to go with drums. I'm going to go with drums on this one. So Instrumental solid. Let's talk vocals. Vocal mix, again, much like the instrumental and a lot of their tracks across the board. Sauce Gang and Crew and Sam's Raps have a really, really fucking solid mix across the board. And again, same thing with vocals. Nothing super clashy, too overbearing. Nothing that would like ultimately change as far as like quality and levels and things like that. And especially when it comes to like each verse transitioning and how everybody sounds together. No gripes at all. Definitely no gripes at all. Vocal shining star, on the other hand. Interesting. I do like the flow and cadence a lot from everybody here, really, but there was so many bars from both of the verses that kind of made me go like, "Oh shit," you know, like the Uncle Phil line and just a lot of like the majority of Sam's verse was fucking crazy. So with that in mind, we're gonna have to go writing and lyrics here. Definitely. You could argue flow and cadence and delivery, right? But I think writing and lyrics is really like, you could tell that there's a lot of sharp, clever bars in here. There really, really is, for sure. So, instrumental shining star, definitely drums. Vocal shining star, definitely the writing and lyrics. Let's talk theme, aesthetics. Refractions due to Molotov, aesthetics. You know, Sauce Gang and even Sam's Raps have some of my favorite covers that I've seen here on the show in general. And this one is no different. It has a good, like, collage, like, magazine cutout sort of flavor. But also in the middle, it has this flag sort of like, almost like anarchy sort of vibe here going on, especially when it comes down to, like, you know, thinking of war and things like that. So I feel like the cover definitely nailed it, especially for a project. And then bottom left, Sauce Gang. And then title in the middle. Simple but straight to the point as well, you know, and it's one of those ones where I think the color palette really complements itself. Like every color complements each other, and it just kind of like went above and beyond. So, I like this for a full length project, for sure, for sure. Solid. Yeah. No, I agree, Omuka. I agree. I definitely agree. Um, Overall theme, war paint. It definitely has like a war anthem sort of feel to it, right? Like obviously not like fucking physical war, but you know, one of those confident get up and go kind of like, not cocky, but very confident, but also still like, you know, when you want to describe war or anything like that, it has that good aggression to it, and it has that good like attitude to it as well, right? Where like you know you're gonna win kind of feel. So I feel like they really, really nailed the war feel for this kind of track, you know, aggressive in your face, but also very, very skilled as well. So well done, well done. Huge shout out to homie Sam's Raps. Make sure you go follow this whole crew of Sauce Gang on Spotify, and of course, make sure you go follow Sam's Raps on Twitter as well. They're approaching 1.2K on the Bird app, my friends. Make sure you go follow the homie Sam's Raps. And of course, every artist featured in today's episode and every single episode will be linked in the description of the YouTube re-upload. And of course, make sure you subscribe to the Music Mondays YouTube channel if you haven't already. We're approaching 330 subscribers. We upload 2 times per week, every Thursday, every Saturday. Full podcast episodes, exclusive segments, and all that good jazz over there on the channel. Make sure you go show these artists on the channel some love, baby. Let's get it. Well done. That was crazy. Absolutely crazy. Thank you, homies. Yeah, of course, my friend. Of course. Thank you for your submission. Let's get it, baby. Oh, shit. Well done. Well done. Alrighty, my friends. So, following the homie Sam's Raps, up next would be the homie Kale Plant. But Kale is a Music Mondays Patreon. So, of course, make sure you go check out the beginning of episode 246. And make sure you go show Kale some love. So, up next is a first-time submitting artist by the name of Black Karma. And they submitted a track titled... Well, they submitted a self-titled album called Black Karma. Now, again, first-time submitting artist. So we have no idea what to expect. Just a link tree in their bio. Let's pop this open a new tab. Let's see what we got here. Oh, this is the new Black Karma Blank Thought project. Shout out to homie Blank Thought. Very talented producer and Music Mondays staff writer. Excellent. It's been a while since we got to react to the homie Blank Thought here on the show. Okay, so brand new project. Obviously, we're not going to play the whole thing. So what we will do is dive into the first track and get some thoughts on this one, for sure. So, Blank Karma, with the homie Black Karma. Blank Karma kicks off with Object. And Blank Thought, that's fire. Yeah, it's been a while. It's definitely been a while, for sure. It's been a while. I'm down. Black Karma, Blank Thought, from Blank Karma, Object. That's a tongue twister and a half, eh?
love went together, couldn't fight the force. Had to keep moving on, my words moving forward. Cracks in the road, headstrong, but I couldn't doubt it. I counted miles in the desert where I cried the loudest. Still tethered by the silence, I was tongue-tied proudly. I can't deny it. Through my voice in the synthesizer, getting more shattered. I was drunk, couple years in the canvas, paying attention. My reflection like moss in the water. I couldn't even bother trying to filter my conscious. Abnormal abs still in rotation. Big mic in rotation, K dot in rotation. We was kids playing with the sun daily. How shit changed, diverging paths, they made me anxious. I'm scared to hit up old friends. Times got damaged, I don't dwell on the past. I move on empty-handed. But my silence is silent from the bottom, stay quiet. My days is calm and I like it, but sometimes I'm feeling alone. That's the pressure of growth. I took many long nights holding down on my own. I was thrown in the wind with no guidance. My mama's face, my father's pride. The ocean I lied, clipped wings like Icarus' plight. We soared high to escape these binds. I learned to write down my heart on this paper of mine. And what's mine can't be taken, I don't care if you try. From the bottom to Olympus, understand these heights. How I breathe in them, bleed different, torn up tights. I gotta grieve with them, blood simmer, now I fight. Gotta die with them, ride with them from these heights. How I breathe in them, bleed different, torn up tights. I gotta grieve with them, blood simmer, now I fight. I gotta die with them, ride with them from these heights. How I breathe in them, bleed different, torn up tights. I gotta grieve with them, blood simmer, now I fight. I gotta die with them, ride with them from these heights. Man, gotta bleed different, gotta grieve with them, gotta die with them, gotta ride with them. Black Karma.
Wow. Very dark. But very, like, stern as well. Great outro. Very interesting way to kick off a project as well. You know, as a listener, like, you'd be curious to see what the rest of the project is like too. You know, you'd be almost encouraged to kind of listen to the rest because you're like, oh shit, you know, like it's like very interesting. You know, so first time submitting artists. Let's talk about it. Let's break it down. Let's get into it. We're gonna talk about three things here. We're gonna talk about the instrumental. We're gonna talk about vocals. We're gonna talk about the overall theme of Object. So, let's talk instrumental. Instrumental mix, proud by the homie Blank Thought. A very ambient, lo-fi kind of hip-hop style from the homie Blank Thought, which is obviously one of the styles that they're very, very good at. But as far as the mix goes, nothing super clashy, too overbearing. Nothing that I would like really ultimately change on this one at all. Simple, straight to the point, but a very like solid canvas for a Black Karma to kind of work on, right? So I like the way that Blank Thought kind of structured this out. But yeah, no, instrumental mix, nothing super clashy to overbearing. Yeah, I mean, yeah, nothing like super like off-putting that I would ultimately change on this. Again, very, you know, simple and straight to the point, right? And of course, it's been a while since we've gotten the chance to react to the homie Blank Thought, so not really a shocker, but something I always want to point out for anybody new here, right? But again, instrumental Shining Star, you know, I was kind of thinking like structure's up there, but drums are up there, but that's the melodies are like, I don't know. You could kind of argue a lot of points here on this one. I'm probably gonna go structure, just because the intro and outro were very, very solid, and once again, it gave a Black Karma like a really good open canvas to kind of work with, right? So instrumental solid, definitely structure. Let's talk vocals, vocal mix. Solid actually, and again for a first time submitting artist, nothing like super clashy, too overbearing. I mean, you know, you could kind of mess with the levels like a little bit here, but nothing that I was like ultimately kind of griping about, you know, especially for a first time submitting artist. And again, drums cut through nicely, vocals sit nice in the instrumental. Nothing that I would like really change about this one at all, you know. So yeah, I mean, kind of solid where it's at, you know. So again, nothing that I would like really gripe about. Vocal Shining Star on the other hand. Probably the writing, but I think the flow and cadence and delivery is probably pretty arguable, but probably writing and lyrics here for sure. It was very like deep and poetic, but also very stern and had like a good attitude to it as well. So, um, yeah, let's go writing and lyrics on this one. So instrumental solid, definitely structure. Vocal solid, definitely the writing and lyrics. Let's talk theme, aesthetics for a Blank Karma. Again, it's simple, straight to the point, but has one of those like IRL like vintage feels to it. And Blank Thought's so good at this style. I've seen them do this style time and time again, and they always fucking nail it when it comes down to that vintage like old photo in the attic kind of look. You know what I mean? So especially for like a full length project, aesthetics definitely on point for sure. Overall theme for Object, right? I mean, it is the first track that you hear on this project, so very interesting. It's definitely like definitely enticing for the listener to kind of like continue to see what this project would sound like. But this one definitely felt like a little bit more of a subliminal personal track to, um, you know, Black Karma and really like what they wanted to say, right? I mean, the listener could kind of interpret it any way that they wanted to, but again, it did feel like a very like more subliminal kind of track. So this is one where you gotta appreciate the writing and lyrics for sure. So well done, my friends. Well done. Huge shout out to the homie Black Karma and Blank Thought. Make sure you go follow them on Spotify. And of course, make sure you go follow Black Karma on Twitter. They're only 3 followers away from 880. So make sure you go show them some love in the bird out, my friends. And of course, every artist featured in today's episode and every single episode will be linked in the description of the YouTube re-upload. Of course, make sure you subscribe to the Music Mondays YouTube channel if you haven't already. We're approaching 330 subscribers. We upload 2 times per week. Every Thursday, every Saturday, full podcast episodes, exclusive segments, and a lot of good jazz over there on the channel. Make sure you go show these artists on the channel some love, baby. Let's get it. You already have. Thank you, my friends. We appreciate you here at Music Mondays. Alrighty, my friends. Let's continue on here. So, let's see here. We left off with the homie Black Karma. Up next is the homie Lucha Libro, a very talented alternative artist, has came through with Hound Dog, a Lucha version of Hound Dog by Elvis Presley. Oh shit. This could be very interesting. Now, Lucha Libro has been kind of killing it when it comes down to a lot of their recent covers and things like that, right? So I'm down. Let's get into it. I was watching, they got torrential downpour on, so now I'm just soaked. Shit. Wet socks are the worst too. Wet socks are absolutely the worst. But let's get into it. Lucha Libro, Hound Dog. Let's go. You get like a full visual here too. I'm down. Wow. I love that. Holy shit. Classic damage. Yeah, no, I agree. I agree. Lucha Libre was jamming there. Um, One thing that really stuck out to me about this though was the mix. Like it sounded really, really fucking solid. Like Lucha Libre sounds really good on this. Like really, really fucking good on this. I don't know if it was just how it was recorded or sometimes mixes just work out, but this mix was probably one of my favorites from all of Lucha Libre's tracks. They really, really went hard on this mix. So with that said, let's talk about it. Let's break it down. Let's get into it. We're gonna talk about three things. We're gonna talk about the instrumental. We're gonna talk about vocals. And talk about the overall theme of Hound Dog. So, instrumental mix, absolutely fantastic. Again, Lucha Libre, sometimes favors a little bit more of like a raw mix, right? But this one is just crisp, clean, straight to the point. Nothing clashy, too overbearing. Vocals sound great on top of it. I mean, especially for the melody itself, man. Like I'm really impressed. I'm really, really impressed. I really, really do like this overall mix in general. But as far as the instrumental goes, mix is great. Instrumental Shining Star, definitely the melody. Lucha Libre fucking killed this guitar for sure. So instrumental solid. Vocal mix, again, much like the instrumental, fantastic. I'm really impressed. This is the first time in a long time where Lucha Libre's mix is just super clean. I wouldn't even have any gripes with it whatsoever. But it still has that raw Lucha Libre kind of style, but it's not like affecting the quality or the levels or anything like that, right? So vocal mix very much on point. Vocal Shining Star. Definitely the flow and cadence and delivery. Again, it kind of helped with the mix too, but Lucha really sang their ass off here. Especially for like a Lucha version of an Elvis song, I feel like they nailed it. They fucking nailed it perfectly. So, flow and cadence and delivery for me, for sure. So, instrumental solid, definitely the melody. Vocal solid, flow, cadence, delivery. Let's talk theme and the visual here. So again, even though a simple acoustic cover, a visual like this really does it some justice. And even just a little bit of editing, right? Like kind of editing it so it's like a little bit retro, vintage, almost like VHS style. I think kind of completed this, right? And then just having it in one take makes for a really great visual and makes for a really, really great cover. So again, I feel like Lucha Libre did the most with this and did as much as they could do. And I really, really think it they kind of nailed it as far as this one goes. It's definitely one of my favorite Lucha Libre submissions as of recently. So, well done, my friend. Well done. Huge shout out to Homie Lucha Libre. Thank you so much for this submission, my friend. Much love. Make sure you go follow Lucha Libre on YouTube. They're only 6 subs away from 40. And of course, make sure you go follow Lucha Libre on Twitter. They're only 5 followers away from 150. So make sure you go show them some love in the bird app, my friends. And of course, every artist featured in today's episode and every single episode will be linked in the description of the YouTube re-upload. And of course, make sure you subscribe to the Music Mondays YouTube channel if you haven't already. We're approaching 330 subscribers. We upload 2 times per week, every Thursday, every Saturday. Full podcast episodes, exclusive segments, and a lot of good jazz over there on the channel. Make sure you can show these artists on the channel some love, baby. Let's get it. I like that one out of Lucha, man. I really like that one. All right, chat. You guys know the deal. We're about halfway through the show, so we're going to take a quick commercial break. I'm going to need all you guys to get up, go get a snack, go get a smoke, go walk the dog, maybe go take a bathroom break or anything like that. And when we return, we're going to dive right back into the rest of our community submissions, so don't go anywhere. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Music Mondays Podcast, episode 246. I'm your host, Zompslays. Hope you had a good break. Hope you're chilling, but we're going to continue on with the rest of our submissions, my friends. So, we left off with homie Lucha Libro. Up next is homie Offspring Mysterious. Now, Offspring, a multi-talented producer, artist, engineer, editor, designer, writer, all the above. This came through with a brand new YouTube upload titled Fiery Haze. Let's see what we got here. I'm down. Alright, my friends, let's get into it. Offspring Mysterious, Fiery Haze, let's go. Bang it out. A mysterious Offspring. What's burning? Holy shit. whooped his ass. He's too powerful now. Great cover. Shoot, energy blast edition? Yeah, no, Oxford killed this one. So this one's very interesting. This one here, right? Definitely felt like a movie. You know how like when you're watching a show or an anime or anything really, and they come up with those like one-off movies that are like insane, this is what that felt like to me, 100%. Offspring did a really good job with this, kind of telling the story and like making us understand like, you know, the real concept of this and how, one of them got completely destroyed, came back and re-destroyed them, right? So it's one of those things where Offspring really told a solid story here, but also I think the editing was top tier, especially with all the fires and all the energy blasts, like Onwuka said. So there's a couple things here that I think are definitely shining stars, but other than the concept, you could kind of argue the concept, right? But I think the shining star here is probably the editing. I think the editing is like on a new level here, especially with Offspring's like last like 5 or so uploads, and even really a lot of their uploads in 2025, right? But shining star here, definitely editing. Well done, my friend. Well done. Huge shout out to the homie Offspring Series. Thank you so much for the submission, my friend. Much love. Make sure you go sub to Offspring Series' channel. They're only 9 subs away from 250, so make sure you go show them some love on the tube. And of course, make sure you go follow Offspring Steers on Twitter. They're only 10 followers away from 820. Make sure you go show them some love in the bird app, my friends. And of course, every artist featured in today's episode and every single episode will be linked in the description of the YouTube upload. Of course, make sure you subscribe to the Music Mondays YouTube channel if you haven't already. We're approaching 330 subscribers, so upload 2 channels per week. Every Thursday, every Saturday, full podcast episodes, exclusive segments, and all of the good jazz over there on the channel. Make sure you go show these artists on the channel some love. Let's get it, baby. Well done, my friends. Well done. So we left off the homie Offspring Mysterious. Up next is the homie Kmore. Now, Kmore, a very talented hip-hop artist, came through with a track titled Blade Dance / Burn. Now, we just reacted to and reviewed Kmore's recent project on the Music Mondays homepage written by the homie Jay, so make sure you go show that article some love. But let's pop this open in a new tab right now, and let's see what we got from the homie Kmore. Let's see. Here's a quick pause. Blade Dance / Burn. September 30th, 2025. So quite literally barely 2 weeks old. Literally barely 2 weeks old. Let's get into it. Kmore, Blade Dance / Burn.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Such a good bounce. It really does have such a good bounce. Well done. Well done. I was not expecting an instrumental from the homie Kmore right there, but that was a pleasant surprise. A very pleasant surprise. Well done. Such a classic breakdown type flavor. I agree. I agree for sure. It has that video game retro, lo-fi boom bap. It's got quite a few styles in here. I agree for sure. But obviously no vocals, so we're gonna talk about it and break it down. We're gonna talk about 2 things here. We're talking about the instrumental. We're gonna talk about the overall theme of a Blade Dance / Burn. So instrumental. Instrumental mix, absolutely fucking fantastic. Nothing super clashy, too overbearing. Nothing I would like ultimately change. Sound selection's great. Drums are great. Nothing that I would like ultimately change. Like I said, especially in terms of quality and levels, definitely nothing I would change at all. Instrumental mix very much on point. Instrumental shining star. Mm. The structure was great. Nice long intro, solid outro. You could definitely argue structure here, but I think I want to go with probably the drums. The drums have such a good bounce rhythm that it really kept up the pace for this instrumental, man. So I'm gonna go drums on this one for sure. I'm definitely gonna go drums. So instrumental solid, definitely drums. Let's talk theme, aesthetics. Blade Dance slash Burn. Obviously a fantastic cover for this title for sure. Simple, straight to the point, but also like one of the ones where the more you look at it, the more detail you see, right? So aesthetically pleasing and definitely hits the nail on the head for a single for sure. Overall theme, Blade Dance slash Burn. It does have that cipher, almost kind of like looser kind of style. So Blade Dance slash Burn is like a solid title for that, but also um definitely one of the ones that's more personal towards these two producers for sure. So well done. I like this one a lot. Well done. Huge shout out to homie Kmore. Make sure you go follow Kmore on Spotify, and of course make sure you go follow them on Twitter as well. They are only 9 followers away from 800. That's a W milestone. So make sure you go show them some love on the bird at my friends. And of course, every artist featured in today's episode and every single episode will be linked in the description of the YouTube re-upload. And of course, make sure you subscribe to the Music Mondays YouTube channel if you haven't already. We're approaching 330 subscribers. So we upload 2 times per week, every Thursday, every Saturday. Full podcast episodes, exclusive segments, and a lot of good jazz over there on the channel. Make sure you go show these artists on the channel some love. Let's get it, baby. If you already have, thank you. We appreciate you here at Music Mondays. Alrighty, my friends. We left off with the homie Kmore. Up next is the homie Onwuka. Now, we haven't heard from Onwuka in quite some time because, we quite literally went through almost all of Onwuka's discography besides probably like a few songs. so it's definitely nice to have Onwuka back here on the show, man. Definitely exciting. The Prodigal Chronoka Player returns on a crazy banger of a mixtape, Preposterous, produced by Jay Furman. My track is called Lupin, all based on Lupin III. And me stealing off on the beat, if you will. One of my more aggressive tracks. Okay. So this is track 5 off of Preposterous. All right. Let's see here. Oh, wow. So we got a lot of familiar names here. We got Coffee Bitters. Got the homie Onwuka. We got Doc. We got quite a lineup here. Okay, I like this a lot. Just dropped on Friday. Brand new. Brand spanking new. I'm down. All right, let's get into it. Onwuka, Lupin by the homie Jay Furman. Let's go. Oh yeah, that jazzy flavor. Oh yeah.
I'm straight looping the birds. I steal off in this hole like I'm looping the third, shooting the burst. Y'all can question me later. So smooth while I circle, I see the slicker waves overtake it. Can't keep up with the big O, but I'm not a negotiator. No front and simple, no need to overstay, bro. Open up your billfold, start exposing paper. G like a Gundam, trying to cause some shiny glowing fingers. Progress, my boss monster pop out, color a Pokemon trainer. My flow stays funkier than the home of the game. I don't get lost, follow all of the roads that I paved. You ain't gonna leave my seat and capacitate you like a Xavier. I'm in my bag like deli birds and skaters. In the back like hustlers selling herb. A Kanye like Genghis. They all wanna know what it's worth. Get them always get more, that's the point. Like I'm looping the third, like I'm looping the third. Like I'm looping the third. Let's roll. Highway chase, looping with girls, so mute and absurd. They say what I do with the words, kill it harder than any human truly deserves. Consuming your worlds like I'm Galactus. Hit you with a harder right than a fascist. I'm the Chalabala, think you Dr. Doom, and see I'm a gruesome my slashes. Makes your face now it's all oozing and spurts, looking like a red skull, but don't get confused. I assure, mask on your head, no my knuckles dripping blood, infused in a burst. They scared to say my name like it's a fusion of slurs on hookah meant to put in a tomb. Since my birth, I still up in this hole like I'm looping the third. Rambalaya, take it off like I'm looping the third. Take it from ya, straight looping the first. J Furman, crown a wooka, a booming you heard. Looping, yes word. Preposterous.
Damn.
J Furman with on a wooka, the crown to play your crown a wooka.
Damn. Okay, so I like this one a lot for quite a few reasons here, but I love all the shout outs for Preposterous and the homie Jay, and it felt like a very like album centric track, but also like Onwuka was able to show off what they can do on this instrumental. So well done. I like this one a lot. Um, we're gonna talk about three things though. We're gonna talk about the instrumental, we're gonna talk about vocals, and we're gonna talk about the overall theme of Lupin Lupin. So quite an obvious theme, but obviously we're still gonna break it down. Instrumental, obviously prod by the homie Jay Furman. I love it. I love it. Has that jazzy late night sort of noir kind of vibe, right? So I love the choice. I love the production. And as far as the mix goes, nothing super clashy, too overbearing. Melodies were great. Sound selection was great. Onwuka sounds great on it. So nothing that I would like really, really change on this one at all. Um, Instrumental Shining Star on the other hand. Um, hmm. I like the melodies. Like I said, the melodies give that jazz, noir, late night city vibe, right? So I'm gonna go with the melodies on this one for sure. Kind of tougher track too, straight mixtape mode. Yeah, no, I agree. I agree on Mocha. 100% I agree. Um, so instrumental solid, definitely the melodies. Let's talk vocals. Vocal mix per usual. Onwuka sounds fucking fantastic on this. We've reacted to probably close to like 20 to maybe 30, maybe 50 Onwuka songs, and a good 99% of them have a really, really solid fucking mix on them. So not really a shocker to us here at Music Mondays, but something you always want to point out for anybody new here, right? So vocal mix very solid, crisp, clean, straight to the point. Levels are nice. Has that good raw Onwuka mix, but not too raw, right? So vocal mix up there. Vocal shining star. You could argue writing and lyrics here, but I think I'm gonna go flow and cadence and delivery. Flow and cadence and delivery really made this enjoyable. Once again, Onwuka just slid on this for sure. So I'm gonna go flow and cadence and delivery, definitely. Instrumental solid, definitely the melodies. Vocal solid, definitely the flow and cadence and delivery. Let's talk theme, aesthetics. Preposterous full album. I like this one a lot. Lots of details, lots of like. It almost gives that like early Disneyland kind of like theme park vibe, right? Or even like a circus or something like that. And then the parental advisory all faded in the bottom left. Definitely album worthy. Definitely album worthy. That's for sure. That's for sure. Overall theme, Lupin, Lupin, right? But also Onwuka kind of breaks it down pretty well here. All based on Lupin the Third and me stealing off on the beat, if you will, right? So I feel like Onwuka did a really good job at that, but also using Lupin the Third as like, almost as like a diving board to like really show off what they can do as an artist, right? So definitely one where you just got to appreciate Onwuka's writing and lyrics on this for sure. Onwuka's definitely on a solid path of like increasing quality and just really like this is one of those tracks where it's a good showcase of what Onwuka can do in 2025. That's for sure. So with that said, well done. Huge shout out to homie Jay Furman and Onwuka. Make sure you go follow Jay on Bandcamp. And of course, make sure you go follow Onwuka on Twitter. They're only 9 followers away from 740. Make sure you go show them some love on the bird at my friends. And of course, every artist featured in today's episode and every single episode will be linked in the description of the YouTube upload. Of course, make sure you subscribe to the Music Mondays YouTube channel if you haven't already. We're approaching 330 subscribers. We upload 2 times per week, every Thursday, every Saturday. Full podcast episodes, exclusive segments, and a whole lot of good jazz over there on the channel. Make sure you go show these artists and channel some love, baby. Let's get it. Well done, my friends. Well done. So, we left off with the homie Onwuka. Thanks, my G. I want to showcase more aggressive type of flick. Oh, no, yeah, that was great. That was absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much for the submission, my friend. Much, much love. No, you're definitely on the right path for sure. Absolutely one of the best of 2025. Definitely. So yeah, we left off with the homie Onwuka. Up next is the homie 3, aka 3 the Real, aka Ethereal. They came through with another track off of Mori Vivi, but they forgot to drop the link. So what we will do is, do we have any links to their music on their Twitter, and we can get to their Spotify? Oh, they do have one right here. Okay, hold on. Oh, here it is. Perfect. That didn't take long. All right, let's go. Come on, Spotify, don't be like that. Oh wait, it is on SoundCloud, isn't it? Perfect. Excellent. Okay, so the homie 3 came through with what track did they want us to listen to here? This is the intro. The proverbial crossing of the river Styx. Hope you like it. Oh, I haven't mentioned I'm entirely self-produced. No, you have not mentioned that, my friend. You have not mentioned that. But they wanted to do the intro. Anubis. Okay. Because I think we did the jam. Did Mori Vivi. I think we only did 2. Maybe we did talk shit. But they want us to do Anubis, right? And I believe this is that track. I want to see I want to make sure that we are going in the right order here, because I know sometimes people's tracks on SoundCloud get fucked up. So let's go double check Spotify to make sure. There's their 2024 project. Yeah, okay, yeah. So it is the first track. All right, I'm down. Okay, so let's get into it. Homie 3, Anubis, intro to Mori Vivi. Let's go.
Hey, it's 3. This one's a doozy.
One's a dizzy.
Y'all been sleeping, stacking, dreaming, yo, but this be alarm. Demon scheming, we be creeping, what we leaving in the yard. From a seeping to a being, soon to see him on Mars. I'm an archer, pulling harder as I shoot for the stars. I'm finding what I talk about is all the shit I'm folding out. I'm finding my own road, I never slow, just had to hold it down. He flows the ghost, is so profound, a stroke of genius, soaking out. And so we found his own renown and hope the stream and wrote it down. Told it was delusion, and the haters steady shooting. What's a demon to a king, and what's a god to a movement? A soul to Anubis, a throne to the useless, a poem to the stupid. Open your ears, this is the Q-tip. Y'all been sleeping, stacking, dreaming, yo, but this be alarm. Demon scheming, we be creeping, what we leaving in the yard. From a seeping to a being, soon to see him on Mars. I'm an archer, pulling harder as I shoot for the stars. Shoot for the stars, I shoot for the stars. It's a war for your mind, we got bazookas and arms. Who's been in charge?
Damn.
The tombs that we guard. Leading from the back, that's that funeral squad. Illusion is odd, they suit in the sod. Homie speaking all caps like you shoot when he talk. Make you lose the facade, you think we losing, you wrong. Can't step the stoop that we on, I'm in the coop with the gods. Y'all been sleeping, stacking, dreaming, yo, but this be alarm. Demon scheming, we be creeping, what we leaving in the yard. From a seeping to a being, soon to see him on Mars. I'm an archer, pulling harder as I shoot for the stars. 3-6.
Whoa. That's a crazy intro to a full-length album, for sure. That's a really, really crazy intro. And it would make any first-time listener want to kind of, like, continue to dive into that, right? So, wow. That's a crazy, crazy intro, I won't lie. Well done. Well done. All right. Let's talk about it. Let's break it down. Let's get into it. So, we're going to talk about 3 things here. We're talking about the instrumental, we're talking about vocals, and we're talking about the overall theme of Anubis. So, instrumental, obviously self-produced by the Homie 3. It's a very, like, interesting instrumental to start an album with, but it's very intriguing as well. I feel like it would bring a lot of listeners in, for sure. So I like the choice. And for the track itself, right, I like the choice. But, yeah, no, this one definitely fits the bill for, like, a first track you hear on a project, right? So I like the choice, like I said. Instrumental mix really solid though. Nothing like super clashy to overbearing. Nothing that would like ultimately fix on this. I like it where it's at for sure. Like I said, levels are good. 3 sounds really good on top of it. So nothing that I would like really change on this one. And again, it has that like gritty muddiness to it that I feel like they were going for. So I do like the mix on it. Instrumental Shining Star though. I suppose melodies are up there, right? But I think you got to go drums on this one. I think the drums really kind of gave the emotion a little bit more of a boost here. So let's go drums on this one, for sure. Let's go drums. So instrumental solid. Let's talk vocals. Again, vocal mix really solid, nice and emotional, but not too like raw, right? It leaves in a lot of the real raw emotion, but still gritty. Levels are good. Quality was good. Nothing super clashy to overbearing. Like I said, drums cut through nicely. 3 sits really solid on top of it. So nothing I would like super gripe about on this one, to be real with you, especially in terms of like levels and quality, right? So vocal mix very much on point. Vocal Shining Star. Probably the flow and cadence and delivery. I do like the writing on this. Very clever and very like thought-provoking writing as well. But I think the flow and cadence and delivery just like elevated the writing that much more, for sure. So definitely flow and cadence and delivery. So instrumental solid. Definitely the drums. Vocal solid, definitely the flow and cadence and delivery. Let's talk theme. Aesthetics, we spoke a little bit about this cover last week, but still I think this is one where, again, it draws a lot of emotion, but also for like a full-length project, definitely fucking nails it 100%. And again, it's one of those covers where the more you look at it, the more you see, right? And you kind of start seeing more and more detail in it. So I really like this choice for sure. And I like the color palette on it too. It definitely has like a full-length project kind of feel for sure. So aesthetics definitely on point. Overall theme, I mean, realistically, 3 kind of explains it pretty well too. The proverbial crossing of the river Styx. Hope you like it. And I mean, even in the description, I had a motorcycle accident, I almost died. Decided to drop an album, More Vivi. We took our time and made it undeniable. All you have to do is show up and listen. With all my love, 3. So yeah, fantastic. Fantastic. And I definitely thought that this was a solid like intro to a project, right? It would make any listener kind of want to continue to listen to the project. But I definitely thought that this was a good job for the intro for sure. So well done, my friend. Well done. Huge shout out to Homie 3. Make sure you go follow them on SoundCloud like we just did. Now they're only 8 followers away from 340, so make sure you go show them some love on the cloud. And of course, make sure you go follow 3 on Twitter as well. They're only 1 follower away from 60 or 11 away from 370. Make sure you go show them some love in the Bird app, my friends. And of course, every artist featured in today's episode and every single episode will be linked in the description of the YouTube re-upload. And of course, make sure you subscribe to the Music Mondays YouTube channel if you haven't already. We're approaching 330 subscribers. We upload 2 times per week, every Thursday, every Saturday. Full podcast episodes, exclusive segments, and a whole lot of good jazz over there on the channel. Make sure you go show these artists on the channel some love, baby. Let's get it. And if you already have, thank you, my friends. We appreciate you here at Music Mondays. Let's get it. So we left off with the Homie 3. Up next is the Homie Braden. Now, Braden, a multi-genre talented artist, is hot off the press with their recent release, but they've also had a stellar 2025 between projects, singles, collaborations, diving into new instrumentals. They've been killing it recently, and they've even dropped a new exclusive on the Music Money SoundCloud, which you should definitely go check out right now. But this week they sent in track number 6 of 7 from their new project titled Beyblade. I'm down. Let's pop it open, a new tab. Let's see what we got here, my friends. Let's see here. So this is track 6 of 7. We only got one more track on their recent project, and we have reacted to pretty much everything on their project. Quite literally every track. Like I said, we got some lyrics in the description. I'm down. Let's get into it. Braden, Beyblade, let's go. I have a feeling this one's going to be crazy. I won't lie.
Don't know how this shit work. I don't know what I deserve. Baby, I don't know how to flirt. Y'all stuck to me like a curse. You wanna talk, you get murked. I'ma get this shit first. Tryna get geeked up like a nerd. Gotta know, baby, bitch, you finna burst. Shawty for me, I told her to do her worst. Off up on, I go crazy, you know that I'ma go berserk. Shawty been healing me, she been like my nurse. We gon' put him in the dirt. I've been outside, been breathing. Pulling with my heater. So many hoes at the meeting. I got no strings, so it's just my freaker. I treat this shit like business. When I'm at work, only time I see her. With a drip, cold water whipping. I'm chill with the plug, could've fucked my dealer. Either way, I caught
Wow.
What you saying, so what you pay? But shout out that minimum wage. Either way, shit'll be okay. I copped a car, so I'll go to the race. I just been cruising this shit, no brakes. You think that I'm going down, no way. Cause lately I'm folding, I got no weight. Don't know how this
What
shit
the
work.
fuck? The flow is crazy here.
Baby, I don't know how to flirt. Y'all stuck to me like a curse. You wanna talk, you get murked. I'ma get this shit first. Tryna get geeked up like a nerd. Gotta know, baby, bitch, you finna burst. Shawty for me, I told her to do her worst. Off up on, I go crazy, you know that I'ma go berserk. Shawty been healing
Wow.
me, she been like my nurse. We gon' put him in the dirt.
I think last week I said that track was my favorite. This one is a close fucking contender. Wow. Wow. You know, this has that classic Braden flow, but it's like so refined and so fresh and so new. It has every like piece of the puzzle here. Wow. Well done. This is great. It's like old Braden, but like very not old Braden, but it's more melodic Braden, and it has their like OG style, but it's more refined, like I said, and more refreshed and almost new, right? So let's talk about it. Let's break it down. Let's get into it. We're gonna talk about 3 things here. we're talking about the instrumental, we're talking about vocals, and we're talking about the overall theme of Beyblade. So, let's talk instrumental. I love the choice, a very Braden style of instrumental for sure. It does have that like alt trap, alt R&B, kind of like cloud trap sort of vibe to it, right? But again, like I said, I like the choice for Braden. Braden knew exactly what they wanted to do on this. But instrumental mix, fantastic. Nothing super clashy, too overbearing. I love the drum selection. The bass is great. Structure's great. Nothing I would like really complain about on this one whatsoever. So instrumental mix solid. Instrumental shining star. Once again, probably the drums. I love the hats. I love the percussion in general. The bass is great. I mean, no gripes on this one whatsoever, but definitely the drums. Definitely the drums. So instrumental solid. Let's talk vocals. Vocal mix, again, fantastic as far as the whole track goes. Braden sounds fantastic on this again. Nothing super clashy, too overbearing. Nothing that I would like ultimately change on this. Braden's had a very consistent mix as far as this project goes, and even a lot of their tracks go. Especially in 2025 and even in general, their tracks are very, very well engineered. So again, not really a shocker, but something you always want to point out for anybody new here, right? So, vocal mix, very much on point, especially for how melodic it is. Vocal shining star, probably the writing. It was like effortless, but still very, very well thought out, you know? So Braden's going crazy with the writing recently, especially on this project. But, instrumental solid, definitely the drums. Vocal solid, definitely the writing and lyrics. Let's talk theme. Once again, I've spoke about this cover quite a few times about this project, but still, regardless, you guys know how I'm a fan of the IRL covers. You know, sometimes they always work out, or even sometimes the project just doesn't really call for cover art. You know, maybe you want to go for like a more IRL vibe, and that's what Braden did here. And I feel like this is a really, really good choice, and it's good for like a full length project, right? Especially for something like this. So aesthetics definitely on point. Overall theme, Beyblade. It definitely has a couple like Beyblade bars here, but this is one where again I would just appreciate Braden's writing and lyrics here and what they can really do on an instrumental. You know, going from like, you know, insane flows to like more melodic flows to just really showing what they could do. Again, this almost topped the last track. Like I think the last two tracks, including this one, have been my favorites. So well done, my friend. Well done. Huge shout out to homie Braden. Thank you so much for the submission, my friend. Much love. Make sure you go follow Braden on SoundCloud, by the way. They're only 7 followers away from 390. Make sure you go show them some love in the cloud. And of course, make sure you go follow Braden on Twitter. They're only 9 followers away from 30. So make sure you go show them some love on the Bird app, my friends. And of course, every artist featured in today's episode and every single episode will be linked in the description of the upload. And of course, make sure you subscribe to the Music Mondays YouTube channel if you haven't already. We're approaching 330 subscribers. We upload 2 times per week, every Thursday, every Saturday. Full podcast episodes, exclusive segments, and all that good jazz over there on the channel. Make sure you go show these artists on the channel some love, baby. Let's get it. If you already have, thank you, my friends. We appreciate you here at Music Mondays. So, up next is a multi-genre producer known as Marco Pernice. They came through with a track titled Mr. President. Now, we've been diving into Marco's recent releases. We've been diving into some of their earlier releases, but like I said, this week they submitted a track titled Mr. President. I'm down. Let's pop it open a new tab. Let's see here. 2021, so not super old, but not super new either. So let's see here. I'm down. Let's get into it. Marco Pernice, Mr. President. Okay.
Yeah, Mr. President. Shoot. Mr. President. Yeah. Shoot, Mr. President. Yeah, Mr. President. Shoot. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Mr. President. Shoot. Mr. President. Yes, sir. Get out of here. Yeah, Mr. President. Shoot. Mr. President. Yeah. Shoot. Mr. President. Yeah, Mr. President. Shoot. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Mr. President. Shoot. Shoot. Mr. President. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Get out of here. Get out of here. Get out of here. Yeah, Mr. President. Shoot. Shoot. Mr. President. Yeah. Shoot, Mr. President. Yeah, Mr. President. Shoot. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Mr. President. Shoot. Shoot, Mr. President. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Get out of here. Get out of here. Shoot, Mr. President. Yeah, Mr. President. Shoot. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Mr. President. Shoot. Shoot, Mr. President. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Get out of here. Get out of here.
Well done. That was quite the journey. It has quite a few flavors to it, right? It has a good dance, electronic, almost like alt rock flavor to it as well. So well done, my friend. Well done. Huge shout out to the homie Marco Pernice, man. Let's talk about it. Let's dive into it. Let's get into it. Then we're gonna talk about two things. There's obviously no vocals. We're gonna talk about the instrumental and talk about the overall theme of Mr. President. So instrumental mix, fantastic, nice and wide. Heavy, clear, crisp, clean. Levels were good. Nothing that I would like ultimately change when it comes down to the instrumental mix. Definitely not. Instrumental Shining Star on the other hand. I do like the sound selection. The drums are up there, but probably the melodies. I feel like the melodies really kind of came through and gave this track a somewhat of a story, right? So definitely the melodies here. Overall theme. Let's talk aesthetics. A very interesting cover of just the whited out Marco Pernice with the Mr. President, and then like the New York shirt on here. It's definitely solid for a single for sure. Definitely solid and gets the job done. And definitely eye catching as well, right? So aesthetic standpoint, overall theme, Mr. President kind of has to do with the ad libs that they were using throughout the song, but definitely has that good groovy kind of like club electronic feel to it. So I feel like Marco definitely nailed what they were going for here on this for sure. So well done, my friend. Well done. Huge shout out to homie Marco Pernice. Thank you so much for the submission, my friend. Much love. Make sure you go follow Marco Pernice on Spotify. And of course, make sure you go follow Marco Pernice on Twitter. They're approaching 1.5K on the bird at my friends. They're only 5 away. Make sure you go show them some love on Twitter. Of course, every artist featured in today's episode and every single episode will be linked in the description of the YouTube upload. Of course, make sure you subscribe to the Music Mondays YouTube channel if you haven't already. We're approaching 330 subscribers. We upload 2 times per week, every Thursday, every Saturday. Full podcast episodes, exclusive segments, and a whole lot of good jazz is over there on the channel. Make sure you go show these artists in the channel some love. Let's get it. Alright, my friends, last but not least, up next is, well, it would be the homie Ghost, but Ghost is a Music Mondays Patreon, and we've already reacted to Ghost's track earlier in the show, so make sure you go show Ghost some love. and go check out the beginning of the show. But like I said, our last but certainly not least track of the night, the homie Mac 2 Times, a very talented hip hop artist, came through with a track titled Neverland. Let's see what we got here. I'm down. Oh wow, I love this cover too. Now Mac is back on their single grind when it comes down to singles, so I'm excited to see what Mac 2 Times has been up to, man. Let's get into it. Neverland, Mac 2 Times. Let's go.
Luca, that's crazy.
Love this melody.
It's crazy in a beautiful world, but I'm all alone. I miss my grannies all the time, they can't pick up the phone. I miss when I heard y'all emails and it's just dial tone. Don't really care to talk to no one, my heart made a crumb. Told her shorty put me up so I get in the zone. Wait, that's a sweet, that ain't enough, girl, I'ma need some more. Look out the window, see the stars, I want one on my own. Both in the sky, I know the walk of fame, don't wanna go. I wanna platinum like a bag, the best in the game. Been doing multiple things, and get no sleep today. Not just today, it's been some months I've been going insane. That's what it takes to be successful, at least I got no pain. I'm tryna run up these bands, I never have enough. I'll be rich by myself, I never had a love. No matter who you are, you'll never have my trust. That's one thing I don't want, is tie me up above. You be shining on me, let's show the niggas where to go to. Don't usually flash, but I work hard, so I'm posed. Don't get misconstrued, I ain't no dummy, body told. Listen to all my songs, you know the stories that I go. Nonchalant and unapproachable, already told you. Heartbreak from my past, I got no trust, the anti-soul. I say I love you, but I'm capping like I'm lying on these Pro Tools. Besides that, always honest, just cold-hearted, cause I grown too. Will I ever
Like I'm
find
lying on
love?
these
Can
Pro
I do
Tools.
it again? I think I'm comfortable telling them that we better as friends. That would be cool, but I know it's just until the end. Can never trust none of you niggas or bitches, y'all be playing. It's like I go for the one-on-one, but can't never land. I be getting the backup plan, like the arcade crane. They say never, well I'm in Neverland. That's a whole lot of nevers, call me negative, man.
Wow. Whoa. That is crazy. Mac fucking killed this. Well done. Well done. Wow. Holy shit. Very emotional, but very straight to the point. And Mac just does so well with instrumentals like these, man. I love that choice. Let's talk about it. Let's break it down. Let's get into it. So we're gonna talk about three things here. We're gonna talk about the instrumental. We're gonna talk about vocals. And we're gonna talk about the overall theme of Neverland. So first off, I love the instrumental choice. But instrumental mix, fantastic, simple, straight to the point. You have this wonderful acoustic melody that I thought Mac mixed really well with. So again, nothing super clashy, too overbearing. I thought Mac sounded really solid on top of it. So no gripes with the instrumental mix whatsoever in terms of quality and levels. Instrumental Shining Star, obviously the melody brings a real emotional foundation for Mac to use, right? So definitely the melody for sure. Vocal mix, fantastic. Mac 2 Times has had a really solid vocal mix for quite some time. And they've really settled at a nice middle ground, and they can really sound good on almost any instrumental. So I love the vocal mix. Definitely hit every checkbox for me. Vocal Shining Star. Probably the writing. I do like the flow and cadence and delivery, but the writing was so fucking honest, especially like talking about the family and just your confidence and everything. I feel like the writing was very much on point. So instrumental solid, definitely the melody. Vocal solid, definitely the writing and lyrics. Let's talk theme, aesthetics. Love it. Absolutely fucking fantastic. Has that good like Wonderland, faraway island kind of feel, but almost has the like the Dragon Ball One Piece aesthetic. You have Neverland bottom mid, parental advisory, bottom right. So I like this cover a lot, and Mac always does really well with their single covers for sure. Overall theme for Neverland, you know, again a perfect place in almost anybody's mind, right? Like everybody has like a different Neverland in their head, and Mac 2 Times is just kind of like laying it out on the line and really talking about what that means to them, but also the journey to Neverland and like where you can go to like find true peace, right? So well done, my friend. Well done. Huge shout out to the homie Mac 2 Times. Thank you so much for the submission, my friend. Much love. Make sure you go follow Mac 2 Times on SoundCloud. They're only 5 followers away from 30. And of course, make sure you go follow Mac 2 Times on Twitter as well. They're only 1 follower away from 180. So make sure you go show them some love in the bird at my friends. And of course, every artist featured in today's episode and every single episode will be linked in the description of the Music Mondays YouTube re-upload. And of course, make sure you subscribe to the Music Mondays YouTube channel if you haven't already. We're only 5 subs away from 330. We upload 2 times per week, every Thursday, every Saturday. Full podcast episodes, exclusive segments, and a lot of good jazz over there on the channel. Make sure you can show these artists on the channel some love, baby. Let's get it. And if you already have, thank you, my friends. We appreciate you here at Music Mondays. So that does it, my friends, for episode 246 of the Music Mondays podcast. Let's give some shout outs. Let's show some love. And let's get a little closer in here, man. Well done. Well done, my friend. And like I said, huge shout out to everybody that came through and showed love, man. Let's give a little shout out to the chat. We were pretty bumping in here tonight, man. Huge shout out to the homie Drama Eyes. Huge shout out to the homie Ghost. Huge shout out to the homie Onwuka. Huge shout out to the homie Sam's Raps. And anybody else that lurked and came through. You guys are fucking wonderful, man. Thank you. Even if you just stopped by, we appreciate you here at Music Mondays, my friends. Massive shout out to everybody that submitted and tuned in tonight. Huge shout out to all of our Music Mondays Patreons that submitted tonight. The homie Kale Plant, massive love. Huge shout out to the homie Ghost. Huge shout out to the homie Jordan. And huge shout out to the homie Dry My Eyes. And huge shout out to the homie King Mark Ryuki and Kruger. You guys are fucking wonderful. Thank you. Huge shout out to everybody that submitted tonight. Huge shout out to the homie Sam's Raps. Huge shout out to the homie Black Karma, Lucha Libro, Offspring Mysterious, the homie Kmar, Onwuka, the homie 3 The Real, Raiden, Marco, Pernice, Ghost, Mac 2 times, Jordan, and the homie Dry My Eyes. Like I said, much love. You guys are fucking wonderful, man. Thank you. Per usual, this episode will be live on the Music Mondays Patreon tonight, so make sure you go check that out if you want to go download it or kind of go show that some love as well. And of course, submissions will be live for episode 247 tomorrow, so make sure you follow us on social media at All Music Mondays, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, Twitter. We're quite literally everywhere, man. But per usual, we're going to be working on our next album and getting that ready, and I'll be updating you guys here on the show every single week. And then, of course, this episode will be live on Spotify this Thursday, so make sure you go show that some love. And anchor.fm/allmusicmondays for a archive of every single Music Mondays podcast episode. And of course, make sure you follow, subscribe below. Everything linked below. All my socials, all the good jazz is linked down below. All the Music Mondays socials are linked down below. I quite literally stream 5-6 days a week, so make sure you come through and kick it with the kid. And then, of course, we're live every Monday for the Music Mondays podcast. But per usual, man, that does it for episode 246. Thank you guys so much for coming through and showing love. We wouldn't be shit without the community, man, and we're hoping to close out the year on a really high note. So I'm excited, but per usual, that does it for episode 246. Boys on Slays, make sure you follow, subscribe below. Everything linked below, all the socials, all the good jazz is linked down below. We'll be live tomorrow for a regular stream, and then we'll be live next Monday for episode 246 of the Music Mondays podcast. Be safe. I love you all. Take care, and we'll see you tomorrow and next Monday. Let's get it, baby.